Okay, welcome back again. So I'm recording right now. This is our second day of training for online teaching. So thank you, Stanley and Jose, for coming back. And yesterday, we briefly went over some of the teaching materials. We went over the zhumu platform. We also went over the training manual that was compiled, sent to you. So I'm just going to go ahead and open it up right now for any questions that you might have right now before we move forward into the process. You can raise your hand. What you can do too is it doesn't matter. There's actually a feature on zhumu that if, like, let's say you had multiple students in a class, which is not typical for this program, but it can be possible. There is an option for people to raise their hand, and I guess if you go into the manage participants, I think it's more, or shoot, I'm trying to figure out where it is, but I guess if you click on your name, I think it's under more, you can raise your hand. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, there you go. You found it. No. Yeah, you found it. Where did you find it?
Yeah, it's on, you just click on participants and click on the lower right-hand side.
Okay, there you go. And you raise your hand, and I can actually see, so like if I'm talking to you, you want me to, no, I'm kidding. But, if you have a question or something, and since there's multiple people, you can raise your hand, and then, and so also that kind of helps out when I'm saying, hey, who wants to go first? I can just call on you rather than, actually embarrass you. So, okay, so, all right, so yeah, so just if you have any questions, just let me know, or if no, you can just, shake your head and we can move forward.
Right now, I'm good. I'm probably, I may have more questions probably Friday.
Okay.
Just so that I can have tomorrow really to kind of review everything.
Yeah. Okay.
I was starting to go through the manual, but I didn't get to finish it. There's still stuff I haven't reviewed yet in that manual that you sent us.
That's okay. You have a couple days.
Yeah, same as me. I just want to see what today's training is all about, because I may have a few questions, but it might be answered in today's training. So I don't want to go.
You're a good student. Thank you. How often you're like where the students are asking the questions that, oh, that's actually covered in our lesson today. Anyway. Yeah, so yeah, I appreciate that. So let's get started with the training. So what I was going to actually do right now is I was going to pull back up the training manual. So let me see if I can find it and then share the. So just to see where we are today for today's training, I think that's here. So yesterday we briefly navigated the active teach. We also went through zhumu. So we're going to go back onto the active teach today. I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to look around again. We'll look at some of the other features that we didn't get a chance to look at. Let's see. So I also sent you guys yesterday an email, a short email that just I submitted your forms back to me. Thank you for doing that. And I also gave you access to our documents on CAC online documents. So some of those documents contain some articles about total physical response, for instance. So it wasn't expected that you go through it, but we might just highlight some points from the article, the one article that was written by one of Pearson's educators. And then there are some other articles about ESL, teaching ESL, and then classroom management tips. So, and those are just for your information. It's not, there's no test or quiz on it. But we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about total physical response today. So you might watch a short video clip. And really, number C and number D here are basically, the same thing. So just how you employ the 4 linguistic skills while using total physical response, essentially, is all that should say. And we'll also review like a lesson plan, and you'll have access to the training video, the PowerPoint that we're looking at. And the PowerPoint has actually it actually has a short 30-minute YouTube video from one of our other teachers. And you could be able to see like what that looks like what an actual lesson looks like. If you can't see it or if you can't get access to it for some reason, just let me know, and I'll just make sure you get access to it. It's a link to the YouTube.
You said it's on the Google Drive?
You know what? It's actually, and yes, it actually is on the Google Drive. So it's on the training, the PowerPoint that we're kind of going through. So you should. So when at your leisure, when you're preparing for a lesson or something, you can take a look at it. So you'll be able to see that. And yesterday I was able to record a video for the rubric system, so the student progress tracker. And so I also give you guys access to that, so you can just check out the recording. And it's something like this. It's with 2 of our other teachers who kind of been doing it a little while. So they have some semblance, some idea. But with that particular video, that's about an hour. It's a little less than an hour. And I'm actually going to compile a list of questions about 4 rubrics to see if, and then you can ask questions and it will just be like a document. I think maybe I'll just do like a survey or something, Survey Monkey. And you could just submit that to me online. And really, it'll be something simple. It won't be too extensive. I'm not going to expect written essay or anything like that. So short answers. And then at that point, you can also ask me questions about 4 rubrics. And if you want to schedule another time to meet with me about 4 rubrics, that would probably be okay. But just know that it's not necessary for the actual trial lessons to know about 4 rubrics. So I just want to introduce you to the system so you can understand just the assessment process. But I feel like later on we might have a conversation a little bit about how to use the assessment if you haven't figured it out from the video. All right, and so that's pretty much tomorrow.
Is it just me or are we getting some feedback, some background noise?
Yeah, I'm getting some feedback too. Is there I don't think, is there anything? Is there a radio on or something?
My side, but if it's me, I'm not hearing anything. It could be me.
Okay.
Is it me?
Let me try something here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Is the feedback on?
I don't hear the feedback now.
Okay, something changed.
Well, it was
okay, that's a little better.
I didn't hear anything, so it must have been me. Sorry.
So, yeah. Okay. No, it's not. No, that's fine. I heard something, but I'm just so used to hearing background noise. it totally just,
Sounded like somebody cutting the grass right outside the window.
Oh yeah, like a lawnmower.
Yeah.
I felt just.
I don't hear anything either, but it could have been. I don't know.
Okay, maybe it's. You know what? If you have your audio all the way up, sometimes I don't know that's okay too. But if you have it all the way up, it could just be that noise from that. I know that. And I'm just going to give you guys a heads up. Sometimes if you have your audio all the way up, which is what we encourage because we want to make sure that our students are hearing the you know, the lesson, but even the typing is very audible too. So like you can hear, you know, the pounding on the keyboard. So but yeah, so it's a sensitive system. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for that. So no questions there. You guys okay? It's like what we'll cover in training today and tomorrow. Okay. Or today and then you're recording tomorrow. Okay. Or Friday rather. Right. And I might also, and what I'll do is because since that other training is already recorded, you guys could pretty much just view it anytime, like between, you know, tomorrow or Friday or something. And I would just, ideally, I'd like for you guys to complete it before you start your trial lessons with us and then with the China team. So if you get that opportunity sometime soon, that would be good.
Here, let me just, I just want to be clear on that, so I know where to go whenever we finish our conference call today. So what exactly, there's a video training that's part of Friday's lesson, but we can view it anytime?
Yeah, and the video training will be on the student progress tracker. So
student progress tracker.
Right here where I had mentioned student progress tracker, it's going to be on that, and that's the For All rubrics. It's called For All rubrics training.
And is it embedded? Is the link embedded in that PowerPoint, or do I need to go?
No, it's not. It's not embedded. It's because I haven't transferred into a YouTube link yet. It's on zhumu, so it's like what we're doing here. I'm recording, so we'll probably send it to you either through mail, big file, or
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, and I was talking about these two trainings. I'll probably send it to you through mail, big file, because it's a smaller file, so it's not too bad, and it probably won't take too long. But I'll do my utmost to send those today, if not tomorrow. Okay. All right. All right. So let's see. All right. So yesterday we went over the Big English, and I just hear some key points about it, Big English, but there was another system that we talked about briefly, and that is also Pearson, part of. They have several different types of products, but one of their products that we like, that we think would be useful for business English, is called Project Success. It's also like an active teach, so it kind of has the same presentation mode style or presentation style as Big English does, and it helps international business people, you know, kind of in the marketplace, you know, a lot of, if you've ever taught business English before, you know, it just has, a lot of that lingo, but in very simplistic terms. So what I like about Project Success, it's a little bit of an updated version, and, you know, it has the same like kind of acting, but it's like, you know, it has a somewhat kind of updated videos, and it actually has videos embedded, so you don't have to go to a separate section of the program. It's just part of each exercise, or, you know, every other exercise. There's a video embedded. And the other part too is it has something similar, or it kind of contains something similar as Big English, where it has like kind of like this theme, but these are stories about particular people in the marketplace. So, you know, they follow, like, you know, they'll follow Stanley, and then as he goes and buys, you know, his groceries or something, you know, or has he, you know, as Jose has a job interview or something like that. So it's like, it teaches, like, you know, basic everyday skills in the business world, which I thought was really, really cool. But what I also like about Project Success is that it has these critical thinking sections. It has conversational parts, and a separate assessment. So each unit has its own assessment. Whereas in Big English, it's kind of like an overall assessment of each level. So here there are 6 levels with various units. So the critical thinking sections and the conversational parts, that really, I think, kind kind of pieces it all together with, engaging with the business student. Let's see what else. Oh, and then this, again, is PowerPoint style. It has its own lesson planner, its own section for notes for the teachers, which I thought is cool. And then again, review tests and unit assessments. So one of the things I liked about this, which Pearson's Big English, it doesn't quite have, and that's okay, but it does have in the lesson planner, it allows the teacher to gauge a student based on their proficiency level. So if they're a high achieving student or a low achieving student, they basically can all start at the same level or do the same level, but the teacher can give them or give the student a little more, some outside resources to enhance that level. So they can actually start at the intro level, unless it's really, unless the intro level is too remedial. So that's business English. And I think they're I think it's pretty valuable. Now, right now, we haven't quite expanded the business student section yet, the segment yet. So we're still kind of working on doing that. We have a few students, but we have more students that are the younger students. So that's going into a trend where we will make sure we have those. So as far as project success is concerned, that is kind of a separate training, and only a couple of 1-2 hours or something like that. It's just going through the motions. And I know that, yes, Jose.
Yes. So what we're training to teach the kids, right? Not really the adults per se, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're just doing the students. Yeah, the younger students. Yeah.
Okay, so we are only going to be assigned students, right? We're not going to be assigned adults for business English or.
No, you won't.
Okay.
You will not be assigned those until you tell. Like for instance, if you show interest, like Stanley had said, he'd be interested possibly in doing something like business English for adults. So, however, once you show the interest and we actually are able to kind of coordinate that for you, then you'll be assigned. Like you're not just going to be expected to teach it. Like okay, hey, So we'll make sure we talk in advance if that's something that you're interested in doing. So
no, it might be something that I'm interested in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, that in if you show interest, like later on, once you kind of get used to this program here, the Big English, and you kind of get acclimated to the students and the style and then how we work with the calendaring and scheduling and all of that. That might not take that long anyways, but if you want to kind of jump into business English too, just let me know and we can work it out once we kind of acquire, a little more people enrolled in that program. So,
okay. But
it's happening. So I know that. I know for sure. And again, I don't really have the student side. So I don't really know what that looks like yet as far as student enrollment, but when I do it, they do ask. So
they're usually on the Saturday and Sunday schedule, right?
Yeah, that might. Yeah, I noticed there. Sorry, and please don't pay attention to that noise. That's an alert from my. I don't know if you heard that, but that's a technology alert. So I apologize. But so what we've noticed with the schedule is that a lot of the business students are available maybe Saturday and Sunday, but some are also available during the week, the same time that a regular younger student is available. So between 6 and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, 6 and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there has been instances where we were asked if a student or if a teacher can take a lesson between 1 and 5 p.m. China time, which equates to 1 and 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there's been that, but that's, that doesn't happen very often. And we just we try to match their schedule, the skill set too. So Okay. But I just wanted to throw it out there that it's there and that we have a separate, we do have a separate teaching training for the project success. So that is not really covered in this training. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? So I just wanted to kind of also give you an idea of like who our teachers are. So I'm going to I get to add you guys to our list. You know, I get to add your states and to our list. So that's really exciting. But we do have a few teachers from different areas. We have a few teachers from Texas, which I'm surprised. We have more teachers from Texas than anywhere else. One from Hawaii, who does not, they also don't observe daylight saving. So I guess there are a lot of places that really don't. We also have a teacher from Romania, so which isn't here either. And so it's a little easier with her time frame because she's only 5 hours from China.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
5 hours. And then teachers just like you guys, and I can add. What is it? Taekwondo. I can add Taekwondo to this list. But, activities. But yeah, a lot of our teachers are, college, high school level, taught overseas, taught ESL, taught, so substitute teaching. So, and the reason why I show this too is I just want to let you know that, even though there's just you two, we do try to, sometimes we'll have like a kind of like an all, like a faculty meeting or whatever, kind of like an online thing, tutoring meeting, and you might see other teachers, and that's okay. We're all kind of a family here. And I know that everybody has different time zones, but probably in the summer, more people will be available. So there might be more of those sort of meetings where we can kind of collaborate with each other, get each other's feedback, that sort of thing. I do encourage that because, we're always trying to continuously improve our system. And this is sort of like a startup. So if there's any suggestions that you guys have that we could, within reason, that we could implement the system, that would be great. Yeah. So
you said you guys have been in operation for 2 years?
Yeah, CAEC has been around for about 3 years. So this actual online teaching program, though, we didn't really start the online teaching program like where we were getting kind of some teachers and they were doing some test trials and things like that until February. Doing a lot of the research and acquiring, the systems and all that since October, basically the end of October. So, so it's kind of still a work in progress. It's getting better. I feel more and more. So, and we've been kind of with the teachers we train, we just let them know that they're kind of like the pioneers of the program, so, they're in it with us, good and bad. So, yeah. And it's a very exciting time, I think. So, so let's see what else. Familiarity with the online software, and really we just encourage our teachers to have fun, have interactive, they're all interactive, personable, patient, and passionate about teaching. And so even though I think sometimes these people will probably think the song is silly, but it's fun to see like people get into it and like do the movements and things like that. So yeah, so I can tell, then that's when I know when a teacher is, they love their job, is that they will do what it takes. So, yeah, so yeah, and that's just, a little appreciation page for, who you guys are. And then, so what the teachers do. So we talked a little bit about this. I think both of you, I covered the total physical response and kind of what that idea is. So, and if you've most of you've probably done this in your teaching before, and maybe just don't know or didn't know what it was, what it entailed. But it's a theory by a man named James Asher, and essentially it's just a command language, sit-ups or sit down, stand up type thing, where you're, demonstrating telling and demonstrating to a student, so they can kind of understand the language without really having to integrate too much grammar, syntax, or, kind of embedding, like, okay, here are the 5 different forms of the, of the be verb or something like that, where they're not going to understand that as much as they would if, if you just demonstrate or show them and talk to them and interact with them type thing. So our program that we use, the Big English, actually, they really implore the teachers, to use this. That's why when I say that sometimes you guys have to do a little bit of work when you see like the, the page doesn't jump out on the screen. So sometimes you have to do the work too, to just, show the student, like this is an eye, or this is my nose, or, whatever in the song that you're singing, or ask them to point to something, so, yeah. And so that definitely, I think, enhances the 4 linguistic skills of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And you guys will pretty much, during each lesson, using these stimulating and productive lessons to help each student focus on those 4 skills. And I'll tell you that listening and reading, those are the 2 probably best skills that the Chinese student will have, okay? And maybe writing, they're a little, they have some faults, but speaking is probably the hardest for them, because it's really just trying to build the confidence that they have, and so if you might see, like, in your lessons that they're high achieving in some areas, but speaking they're not. So it's just giving them that encouraging to speak and sing and repeat, and you repeat, that sort of thing would be very, I think it would be very helpful in the short lessons they have with you. Give you an idea too, this is tutoring for the students. This is extra English practice for them. So they do learn English throughout the day. Sometimes they go to like another school, like maybe outside school, and they learn English there. So, but for them, this is something fun for them while they're learning. So, even like of these technical, logistical things that we go through with our program, they're still, the end of the day, as people say, which I hate, but usually, all that to say is that all they're doing is they're listening to you guys in standard American English, and they're loving every minute of it, because this is something fun for them, something extra. So, so it shouldn't be, it shouldn't be too complicated. As complicated as it sounds, but so yeah. So just back to TPR. This is just the definition. Okay, language body conversations, and it's the most powerful tool in a teacher's box of linguistic tools. So, so I thought maybe I'd ask you guys, instead of me just assuming, I thought I'd ask maybe if you guys wanted to share if you have any experience with maybe this method itself, because I know some teachers know about it, they studied it, maybe they've never done it before, or maybe they have and now they know they've done it. So would you guys like to share something maybe from your background that perhaps that you have used this method in the past?
I have not.
Okay.
At least not knowingly.
Okay.
Well, I use it every day. I teach the kids. It's because that's basically the job requirement. I mean, unless you know how to do it, the students won't know what they're doing. So if I tell them to do a sidekick, I can't just sit down and tell them to do a sidekick. I have to show them what a sidekick is, and then teach them in Spanish what the word psychic is, and then again in Korean if I have to. And I have to demonstrate it, and then they do it with me. And as I'm doing it, I'm saying at the same time, sidekick, I'm doing the sidekick. And I can switch it to the front kick, or a turning kick, or a wheel kick, or a back kick. And I have to do it at the same time. So, so that's when we use TPR. I mean, we were doing it, but we didn't know that it had a name already. We learned about it on got certified and got certified as an instructor for kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and you know, that just kind of is a testament of, you know, that it's completely part of academia right there, that it's like, you know, even though that's a more, you know, it's literally a physical exercise that you're showing them, but that's giving them the incentive that they can, you know, gives them, you know, part of their confidence and their speaking, reading and writing, you know, at least with, because if they were to read, let's say that you had like a white, they were to read Sidekick, they were to get, you know, it was demonstrated to them, you speak it to them, you have them do all of those, you know, those same things. Now they have that embedded in their head of what that looks like, and it's attached, you know, a visual attachment. And they can, you know, like word association type things. So that's kind of what the idea is. But in accordance to this particular theory, and you guys could, you know, I have the article that I'm going to review, but with you guys, but it's not necessarily through just the speaking, but also through the various tools like singing, you know, through games like tic-tac-toe or something like that, you know, and through just conversations, dialogues, and it's supposed to just be more of a kind of a relaxing type of tool rather than something that's so stringent as, you know, learning sentence structure. You know, that's none of that's bad. It's just the thing is with English language learners, this is probably the best way. If you've ever learned another language, I mean, I'll tell you what, when I first learned German, I never forget how I first learned German. The teacher just started speaking German to us, and I was like, wait, this is not how you learn a language, right? You know, and just started speaking the whole class, and just started speaking and pointing and writing and demonstrating, showing pictures, and, you know, and that was my first experience learning German, and I never forget that, and I realized, okay, this is how it's done for second or third language learners. So, and
did it work?
It worked. Yeah, it actually worked. I mean, that was, you know, many years ago.
How long before you started realizing it was actually like?
I would say about 1 or 2 months in. I learned and I know you know this, Stanley, about me, but I also know a little bit of Russian. But I will tell you that when I was in Russian class, I was thinking in German, you know, too. Stuff and the responses, which I never thought would be possible. And so that's not the reason why it was working, but I just do know that I'm able to still like recall that type of teaching, you know, and how it was. But you know, everybody has their own style. I mean, again, that was in college too, so that wasn't like, you know, a third grade way of learning, you know, German, but German is not an easy language, so I think that introduction was something that I definitely embraced. So, in Russian, I did not learn it that way. I learned the alphabet. I've learned how to read each word, you know, basically all the words of the alphabet, and then I started to learn conversation, and so I felt like I learned it more like I learned English, sentence structure, and things like that than how I learned German. So.
Did you learn the Russian that you learned? Did it come easier, or was it a little more challenging?
Challenging. I mean, my parents were trying to teach me Russian since I was like 5 years old. You know, and I don't know if it was rebellion or not, but I felt like learning the German was a lot easier, and that could just because it's a Germanic. You know, English is in German are, you know, somewhat similar. So. But in Russian is just so difficult. So, but all that to say is that I felt like it was a similar experience to what some TPR teachers would employ for linguistic skills. So, I thought maybe. And again, I'll check out that article. But I thought maybe we just check out this video. It's okay. It's not you know. It's not too dramatic, but it does have some explanation. It has a few questions, so I'll just let you guys.
Okay.
What happened? Well, let's see here. That's weird. That's the first time that's happened. Okay. I don't know if it's because it is no longer. Maybe it just is not.
Let me see.
I'll look it up. TPR method.
It says references to external media objects have been blocked to read. If you enable the content right there.
Oh, I see. Huh. Well, let's see. It's okay. I will, you know what? We'll just skip it then. We're not going to worry about it then. But what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and open up our Gmail account. So go through some of go through the actual that I was referencing earlier. Welcome to open it up as well, but and I can just show you. I guess I'll just show you where it's located.
Is this one of those moments where you have the windows on pause while you're?
Yeah. Yes, sir. How can you tell? All right. So, yeah, I was just trying to go through all of the different files that I have. So, all right. So here's the drive. Let's see. So I think I have it under Pearson documents. So Pearson documents, Pearson articles, and then TPR article. So this article, the author of this article, she designed one of the other programs that they have called My Little Island, and so it just essentially just iterates, what TPR is, maybe that you've used it before, don't even know that you're using it, just like you had said, Stanley, and so you guys can go through this, but what this emphasizes is that how infants, so what My Little Island is, and My Little Island is for, really pre language learners. And so it just emphasizes how this is, as it's easily learned from infants, first 5 babies. Yeah, first 5 years, how babies physically react to a language. So, you're not just, simply showing them and demonstrating them. It's just how their reaction is to it and how they verbally express that information. So why it's so important or useful for young learners. And this is kind of like what Jose was talking a little bit about with, and how he has to, implement this in his physical teaching. This is just the constant need for young students to move. So, and I think about this because the students are pretty much in school all day, right? Like we talked about. And so they're really tired. Sometimes you'll see them yawning and rubbing their eyes and they've probably been up since 7 in the morning or, so, but they do, once they kind of get the blood moving again, it's 25 minutes. That is certainly a response to their wanting to move, to react, and they do want to mimic, like they will mimic you if you ask them to. And then they have, and so also they have large amounts of energy. Some enjoy the tactile activities. And TPR2 is really designed for all learning styles, which is cool, which is another thing that the program Pearson Big English emphasizes are the different ways that one would learn. And that's one of the in the resource manual. So I'm not going to go over all of those learning styles with you. You're welcome to review those on your own. But here, it does say that here, that it appeals to a number of learning styles and then how it does that. So for instance, visual learners, I'm a visual learner, so I'm interested in this one, right? We'll take visual cues from seeing the actions associated with the instructions given. So, and the auditory learners, visual, they like the chants, okay? They like the songs, auditorial learners. So, yeah. Some who like the memory through actions, okay? Those are kinesthetic. Kinesthetic? Can I say it? Through physical. Okay, physical connection, memories through actions. So let's see. So some things that we talked about earlier, I was saying, you know, the hands up, hands down, the touching, the standing, sit down, stand up. There's actually a fun song that involves, it's called a Stand Up, Sit Down. That's a TPR sort of a method type song for everyday classroom activities. And so these are just some ways that, you know, encouraging, they recognize the response, right? Or that response and that command to simple instructions. Visual associations. So I like this just to kind of give you an idea. So it's like sometimes it seems silly, but it's actually really engaging to say, you know, wow, look how big that is, right? Or small, you know, or little, you know, or happy, sad, you know, you know, using your facial expressions rather than talking at the camera, but using your facial expressions, and that really kind of engages them because they're, you know, they're noticing that, they're looking for that because they're looking at your face and they hear your words, but they're looking at your face because, you know, they would like to see how you form the words, you know, so they can also hear and demonstrate and do the same thing, you know. So, so let's see. So yeah, these are just some of the ideas that get them to respond. To, like, for instance, how are you? Oh, are you good? You know. So one of our first teachers is really good about doing this. Like he's really animated, so to speak. So, and look, even if you don't feel like you are that way, you know, but you could certainly learn and just kind of like in between. But just giving them that, giving the kids that sort of welcome, you know, that warm welcome to your classroom that will all, I think, immediately engage them. So, yeah, and then this article discusses a little bit about the different games and songs. So, like even stuff like Simon Says and charades, simple things like that are use the TPR method, right? That we're used to. Mm. And then this one just basically says how My Little Island incorporates that sort of development and learning. Let's see, TPR songs and some stories. Okay, so what Big English incorporates this stuff too. It has the TPR stories, it has the songs, and the games. So it doesn't just have tic-tac-toe. It's just one of the various ones, and the different activities that allows for you, the teacher, to really engage and interact with the student, all the while having fun and they're learning, you know. So you guys go ahead and read this at your leisure, and just, you know, really know that even if you've never done it before, or if you've done it in a different capacity, that, you know, this is just another way of demonstrating to students, you know, the English language. So not the end all theory, but one of the great ones. Here. All right, so let's see, I guess we can look at these other ones too. So maybe I should ask you this question first though. We talk about student engagement a little bit with using TPR, and maybe you've used it, maybe you haven't. How would you think though, if you are trying to engage the students in the class, like what would you guys do to, maybe they're not getting it, maybe they're not listening, maybe they, you know, they're not really, like in a perfect world, they're all singing, they're all dancing, they're all learning all the sentences. But what if they're not doing that? Like, and what if they're just kind of, you know, not paying attention or something? You know, how would you guys manage, you think, even if it's like one student or two students, like what would you guys do? What tips would you would you consider in bringing them back?
Well, try to spark their interest in something else, maybe that's not necessarily in that lesson, or
Okay.
ask them about their day, or because if they're drifting, then they're obviously thinking about something else.
Yeah.
So maybe try to probe and find out what they're thinking about.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Like, use whatever they are thinking about, just try to incorporate that somehow. Now, as to whether or not they're actually going to open up and talk, that's another question.
That's another question, yeah.
Maybe you could offer them a lollipop or something.
Or a lollipop. That's true. Yeah. There was a teacher that was.
They had a 3D printer, maybe.
Oh, what? A 3D printer, right? Yeah, there's a few teachers that actually they'll create like little incentives, even though they can't physically give them anything. They'll create like, oh cool, you get like a red balloon, congratulations, and then like throw it at the camera or something, and they get all like, oh that's cool, type thing, or you've really made Barky happy, and then like whatever prop you have in your hand, and then just and help them out that way. I know that I have one experience I'll share, that there was, it was an individual student, and it was two of us at the office, and we were trying to prepare the student for a test, and he was not listening. Like, we have attention grabbers here, like, hey, can you hear me? We were doing the clapping thing, clap once, clap twice. He wasn't paying attention. Hey, eyes on me. Or like if we were doing this thing, he would maybe for a couple seconds, and then he would go back to not paying attention. And I ended up doing the raising hands thing, where I just started raising my hands for about 5 seconds, and he's looking and he starts raising his hands. And so he starts to mimic. But one particular thing that really, I think, helped was, and this was just digital, like we were like, well, what would really get his attention? Like what would be, so we noticed, because we thought maybe he's not really learning the lesson because it was kind of boring for him. It was just strict grammar, syntax, sentence structure, okay, identify the main point of this paragraph type thing. And he just, not that he wasn't getting it, it's just that he just didn't like the way it was being presented to him. Then he just stopped paying attention. And so one of the girls ended up, we're looking for, YouTube video on grammar, sentence structure. And we found a Mr. Bean video. And I don't know, Mr. Bean and how funny, how, his silent caricature. And it was teaching something about verbs or something like that, but it was Mr. Bean at the hospital, and he just loved it so much, and he was just completely engaged. So even just finding, like, kind of along the lines that you were saying, Stanley, even just finding something that maybe about their day or something that that might interest them, and just sort of honing in on that, to engage them or keep them interested. Like some of these might work, like start singing or something like that, or even just about something that they're interested in, I think is helpful, but it may not always be, because it might help for a little bit, but not all the time. Yeah, so these are just some strategies that you could use to either get their attention, or give them some incentive to continue if they're not, if they're kind of, you're finding that it's a little boring for them, or something like that. So I just thought I'd share that classroom management tip with you.
No,
Jose, did you have anything you want to add? Like, how do you?
No, yeah, it's more of like what happened to me once in a class I took in my master's. I mean, like, I got off of work at 5, and I had to go straight to class 10 miles away. Sit in a classroom, listen to a professor for 4 straight hours. And he knew that everyone was bored in the classroom. Like, no one wanted to be there at 8 o'clock in the evening talking about biostatistics. So, yeah.
I mean, unless your name is Jose, I guess, but.
Yeah. We were all like that and whatever not. And as he was pointing on the board, he used to tap like really hard on the board, and everyone just like stood up straight and was like paying attention. I mean, and that's what I'm going to typically find on these kids all the way in China. They're like tired, sleepy, groggy, and the only thing that can get their attention is noise. It's like that's what I keep thinking about. Like, you could keep talking. I mean, your energy could be high. Maybe you're not transmitting that energy, but if you start making noise, loud noises, like they can get a little bit jumpy, and then like, oh, okay, let's do this. Like, we'll get on it. And sometimes they're just like talking, drifting off, looking everywhere around. Like for those cases, I mean, like you say, like eyes on me, like what it says over there, like attention getters. Those are the two kind of like big things that I might be able to find on these kids. Like they're like sleepy, groggy, or they're like, this is boring. I wanna, what else is around? Kind of problem. So, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And the different things. Look, I'm not saying that, and I certainly don't think that all the students are going to be, they're just going to be all that rambunctious, But
no.
But yeah, and you'll get some real quiet ones too that just won't respond at all, So, and it's not that they don't, it's just that they're just timid. And they'll look at their parents, and then they'll just ask their parents what, they'll start speaking in Mandarin to their parents. The parents are trying to encourage them, hey, talk to the screen, and they're just like, so so there's just some things that you guys could think about, maybe you could draw from your previous experiences and use those while so be prepared that there's going to be some different personalities that you will certainly be able to, I guess, encounter.
I have them all in my classes. I have those attention seekers that want, like, they're continuously asking, am I doing this right? Am I doing this okay? I have those that don't really pay any attention at all. I have those that want to just play with the other kid. You have them all.
Yeah.
Kids that don't want to do anything. Kids that want to do it all and mimic every little thing you do.
Oh, yes.
You have them all.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad that you guys are, you're pretty much then almost experts on that. So, okay. And then this other article is just a guide to curriculum planning. So we already have our curriculum set, and that's fine. But this is just some ideas. If you wanted to kind of bring outside material just to help enhance the lesson a little bit. These are just some ways to do that. And this is where I drew a lot of information about the 4 linguistic skills. For English language learners. So I'll let you guys read that at your leisure. But like you're talking about, like, daily routines, things like that, and asking. So these questions, I mean, it's already inputs the actual types of be verbs in there, so that answer the questions and using corrective measures. So if they do, maybe they're not answering in the correct syntax. So just using those corrective measures and asking them to repeat it, and then that information, like all of that, is embedded in the Big English. Like a lot of the grammar and syntax is embedded. Like if you noticed yesterday, in the video segment, in the dramatic video, the girl and the boy, when the boy was saying, what's this? Asking those questions using the contraction, what's this? What is this? Things like that. You can actually teach them the grammar without them really like having to know that that's what a contraction is, or it's a question that, that's usually asked. So anyway, let's see. So I'll go ahead and give that. That's already posted on there. Any questions about these articles? I just logged out of it, so I don't know why I did that. I apologize.
No, that's good information there to have access to.
Good. Okay. As time moves along, I find more things. I try to post them on there so you guys could have some, just some resources for yourself. I actually do have in that same folder under Pearson resources. I actually have that gigantic 200-page resource manual that we're going to look at today. It's let's see. Pause the share again, and it's for the Pearson Big English, but it's it has a lot of the material that we just looked at, and it's obviously just extensive, a little more extensive research. So we can take a gander at that today when I go back into Big English. Okay, great. So sorry about the video, but the video's it's okay. It's probably better just to talk. All right. So let's see. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go into what a sample lesson plan will look like, and then we'll go back into Big English itself. So typically, and I think I covered this a little bit yesterday because I was trying to go through the different sections. So I think yesterday we looked at a song, we looked at 2 pages of an ebook. We looked at a game. We looked at the digital flashcards, and we also looked at a video. Okay, so you can already tell the different tools that you have at your disposal to teach a lesson. So your fear is like, oh my gosh, like I don't have enough time in 25 minutes. Like you have so many things that you can use. I mean, you just basically just pace yourself, Another thing that the resource manual that 200-page resource manual, it has a timetable of how to pace the classes. Just to give you an idea, again, these units are designed to basically go an entire, the levels are designed, so level 1 through 6 basically go an entire year, So you can go through in a unit. If you're working with the same student, for instance, or the same set of students, you can go through an entire unit for, a couple weeks, 3 weeks, it's up to you. So I'm actually going to show you this lesson plan, what something looks like, and I'm going to show you a specific lesson plan that one of our teachers created that I really like and that we're actually starting to use, that we have actually implemented to send to our China team. Because what's happening is that before each lesson, let's say Stanley and Jose, you guys have a set of students, you're going to teach them tomorrow, okay? The idea would be that you would send your lesson plan to me and to the China team, okay? Probably through QQ International. Okay, here's the lesson plan for Johnny and Jimmy tomorrow. And it will just be like a 1-page document that just details a little bit about what you're going to teach, and how you're going to teach it, and maybe page numbers, okay, some learning objectives. And somebody from our staff actually designed it, and I really like it, the way it's structured. So it's based off of these ideas here. So introducing the lesson, teaching the lesson via active teach, reviewing the principal concepts, and then ending the lesson. Okay, so how you could do it is you could start with the unit song or end a dramatic video segment, okay, using the TPR method. That could be a couple minutes. Choosing 1 or 2 pages from the ebook, this is like kind of the meat of the lesson. And then, of course, incorporating the linguistic skills using TPR. This is where you would kind of incorporate the body language, repetition, using props, drawing, on zhumu, using the zhumu drawing tools, playing games, or other ways for student engagement. So that would probably be the bulk of your lesson. And then reviewing the principal concept. This is where people use the flashcards, to review some of the vocabulary. I've also seen it where the teachers would go and use another video segment. So they would use there are 2 types of video. So they use the other video segment to review. And then they just end the lesson. They can go back to the Big English song, or the unit song. You know, you can end with a game like tic-tac-toe, like you guys were saying yesterday with the tic-tac-toe, maybe kind of a review or like a test or something like that. So ways, yeah. So this is just the idea, at least the four bullet points here. So what I'll do right now, stopping the share again. I will pause the share. Actually, this is a different, I'm sorry, you're on a different page now. So I'm gonna, this is not the one I want you to see.
So that's the business English.
Yeah, that was the business English, and I wanted to show you that in a little bit so you can see that that's a lesson plan that Pearson's created. So through Big English, but I'm going to just show you.
So does Pearson's, do they just produce content, or do they have their own schools as well?
They do. Yeah, they do have I know that it's very possible that they have them over. I don't really know where they would have them. I know that they have global schools, but probably they're for software. Software. You can like visit their website. It's very comprehensive. I use Pearson in my classrooms for college, and you know, you see Pearson publication books everywhere all over the United States. So. So I don't know if they have their own classes, but I know that they sell their products to, companies like us or to schools, to school districts, colleges, universities, and it's sitting in their, in their bookstores and things like that. So they're primary publication company, and software company. One of the biggest ones. They're like National Geographic, Cengage Learning. They have these,
Okay, so they are a software company as well.
Yeah, software and publishing company. Yeah. So, all right. What was I looking for? Oh, okay. Let me. I was going back to the. I'm going to go back to my Google Drive here, or your Google Drive rather. Actually, you guys, pretty much have access to that, so you can look at it as well. But let's see. You guys don't need to see all of my open windows. All right, so going back to the documents here, I think lesson plan. So there's another little link here to lesson plan samples. So I have one for, for what we were looking at. Nope, that's not it. This is for a different one. Maybe it's this one. Nope. All right, that's okay. This is So this is just a lesson plan for one of the units. It's actually in level 1 what we're looking at, but so you can see here. There's suggested time. And it's not to say that this actually happens in all this time, but the bulk of the lesson is here, 5, 8, 12 minutes, so half of the lesson. The song takes a couple minutes, and then they go back to the song at some point, or they just review. This particular teacher looks like she asks the student to draw on the interactive whiteboard that both, I think, will actually just... and I can show you what that is. Big English actually has an interactive whiteboard. And they can use the zhumu tool to do that. But what this teacher does is she has pretty much the entire procedure that's already listed on the exercise itself. And this is just an easy, very easy outline. And it's good for the China team to have something like this. So when you send it to the China team a couple hours in advance of the lesson, at least 12 hours in advance, then what the China team does, especially if it's a new student, they will prep the student. So it's kind of like a student prep and just say, okay, these are the pages that we're looking at. So just be prepared, type thing, and then give them some idea of what you're going to teach them, Yeah, so that way they're not completely blindsided. And it's worked, actually, and that kind of helps with the student engagement, too.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So the students that we get assigned based on their time slot availability, it can vary, even though Jose and myself are new. You guys, so like one time slot may have a level 1 kid. The next time slot could possibly have a level 5 kid.
Yes.
So on and so forth. Okay.
That's possible. Yes, that's possible. That has happened. And typically the teachers that have been kind of working on this and having the multiple students have been doing fairly well with kind of going from one class to another, like, or one level to another level. As long as they know what, what they're doing in advance. And too, that sometimes if a teacher isn't available, let's say you and Jose are, working the same schedule, right? And Jose couldn't make a class, but you can make a class. And if we knew that enough in advance, Jose would have some of that information ready. Like he'd say, well, here's my lesson from, unit 3. I finished on page 25 and start on page 26. And then you would, okay, no problem. And then you would just kind of go from there. And we would have that information hopefully in advance for you. Jose might already have a rubric already done and just saying, this is what the student needs on, just a quick, some quick notes about him. And it seems to be working out okay. There hasn't really been too many issues with, and actually none that I know of anyways, that where the teachers, even though you guys are working the same schedule, you kind of had to switch gears. Teachers seem to be doing pretty well doing that, because we do try to give them advance notice as much as possible. So, yeah. And what we hope to, you'll be able to develop like a portfolio of your lessons and of your that for each one, so you kind of just have that ready when you know what you're going to be teaching another student of this similar level. So these lessons are they're suggested times, and so you might maybe go, you probably won't go past 1 2 or 3 pages, but you may not be able to finish this, and that's okay. You can always just, wait till the next time, So, or if that student goes to another teacher, you just let them know, hey, we didn't finish this lesson, but we finished on page 27 or something, type thing. So, yeah, good question. All right. So that's that lesson plan. I wanted to also show you too, which we're going to see. So that was for one of the units. We also I developed a similar lesson for the assessments. So let's say it's a brand new student who's never used Big English before. We try to gauge their skill, their skill set, and we use what the each level calls a young learner's English starters session, essentially. And it's separate from all the units, but it's each Big English level has its own young learners English starters. It's kind of like a review or an assessment, okay? Or it's a kind of like a testing their reading, writing, listening, and speaking. That's basically what it is.
To see if they're at that level.
Yeah, if they're at that level, right. Yeah. So we start them at level 1, for instance, if they're in the 1st or 2nd grade, and let's say you are going through it. So these are kind of like a lesson plan. They do the listening. This is kind of like what you would do, and then reading the questions, and then asking them to just go. So right here would be like where the reading is concerned, speaking. So they really kind of test their speaking capabilities. We got listening, reading, writing, speaking. How well they can describe something. So that's just an example of young learners for the assessment or the test. Place them into, and then you use the rubric. If they do kind of decent, you know that they either should stay or maybe they should move to the second level because they did what in the areas that would be ascribed or that are ascribed to the first level of Big English. So that's assessment, and anytime you get that assignment to you, I will make sure that I give you, you'll have this available, but I will kind of give you, pinpoint to you, okay, it's an assessment, this is where you would need to go, and this is how you need to plan out the lesson, and then this is the rubric you use in order to gauge the student's level, okay? Okay. So yeah, I have a couple there. I'm trying to build that too. So the more I get, the more I put in there so you guys can see it. I mean, you're welcome to use them. Our other teacher, he's okay with it. So it's like, it's there, might as well, but again, you can, implement your own kind of, what we like to call around here, flair to the lesson. Yeah, so you can certainly use your own, information if need be, or if he likes it. Like this one, for instance, just as an example, this one doesn't have the song at the end. So she uses the whiteboard instead to end the lesson. But if you wanted to kind of like close it a little bit, you want to add the song or take this part out, that's up to you, so. All right. Okay, so those are lesson plans. Now, do you have any questions about lesson planning or anything like that I might not covered?
No, the only question I had was, if like I have a lesson plan, but let's say the student got stuck in a certain part asking questions, I couldn't move forward, and then you said, well, your job is to basically tell the other teacher that the student, we only made it to this page because the student had a lot of questions for the time frame. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Now, and that's that. Now, just to give you an idea, we do our best to try to make sure that all the teachers kind of keep their students, unless it's like, unless again, there's no way that, let's say, Jose and Jimmy are meeting all the time or whatever. There's no way that Jimmy can meet at this time anymore, and Jose cannot meet his requirements. Then you most likely will, give that information over to the teacher. But it won't be as often where they're going to be just choosing different teachers all the time. However, if that happens, like let's say it's happened maybe maybe it has happened like right away or, almost immediately after you taught that first student or assessed that first student, then, you will notate to the next teacher that in a rubric finished off on page 25, didn't get to this lesson because the student had a lot of questions about A, B, and C. So you may want to revisit these pages, type thing. Still, even if there wasn't a chance that they're going to change, I would still just do that for your own understanding when you put it on the rubric, on the section of the rubric, that the student did not complete the lesson, or we didn't complete the lesson because of A, B, and C, and we need to work on these things. So you can make that in a comment section. It doesn't have to be on the it doesn't have to be on one of the standards, but it could just be on the rubric itself, the comments. There's also an opportunity too in the TeachWork system for the scheduling, that if you wanted to make just general comments about the student, you can, like lesson notes, that's also a good, nice, quick, easy way. And me as an administrator, I'll be able to see that stuff too. So, and if I needed to tell a teacher something quick, oh, by the way, just, look out for these things, I can do that too. But there's one teacher who uses the notes, there's another teacher who doesn't use the notes. So if we can at least put the notes or notate something on the rubric, then that would be helpful, if there needs to be another teacher to take over. Okay. Okay. So back to any other questions about that? Stanley, did you have a question? Or anything?
Not at the moment.
All righty. Okay, so this is, I wanted to give this example. We've been staring at it for a while. So this is just what the business, I'm sorry, this is the business English from Project Success. So this is kind of a neat way that one could present business English. And I just wanted to show you, this is a little more comprehensive, just what it would appear to be a good lesson. But this probably is, I'd say this is like a 30-minute lesson. But, you know, depending on how fast the student absorbs the information. So, so I feel like the first couple, and then it says here ongoing assessment. So, so this can even be a little bit longer. So these types of lessons, these are just, you know, obviously they're just suggested. So you could pick and choose what you want from it, and, you know, see where it goes, you know. So that's just an example of what they give you, like what Pearson is giving you. So we're given instructors. All right. Oops. Okay. All right. So this is the video that I think this is on. I think this is slide 12. So this is the Active Teach demonstration. So we're not gonna. It's a 30-minute long video. So, and this is actually with a, you know, it's with a real student who's about 6 years old. She's as cute as can be, and and so it's really in between her and one of our teachers, and you can kind of see, you can certainly see the fervor that he has for teaching, the passion that he has in teaching the student. But you can also see how he, you know, he really, because there's a lot of, like, you'll notice a lot of background noise that he doesn't have background noise, but she has background noise. She has people around, like she's got her younger brother sitting on her mom's lap, and then she's got the father in the background. So you can kind of get an idea of what it would be like to have a little bit of a distraction, and how to kind of get, you know, kind of bring her back to the lesson. But she's very smart, and he really does, I think, a decent job trying to get that, you know, continue to keep her engaged. So, so that's just, it's just this example. And if you wanted to see another example, I have no problem showing you something else, but this is just something that we do show our students. And if you're having, again, if you're having issues opening this is already shared on the drive, but if you're having issues opening this particular document or this YouTube video, just let me know and I'll try to fix the issue. So far, I haven't had any problems. So, all right. All right, so I thought we would take some time to look at, we'll look at next steps, but I thought we would take some time to look at the Big English Active Teach again. So I can show you some of the other features that we didn't get a chance to look at yesterday, and then just kind of let you guys have at it. And then we'll talk about next steps. Any questions so far that maybe are, you know, kind of orbiting? Nope. Okay, perfect. All right. Back to the first level here. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and let's see. This is what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to just give the remote control access to Jose, and then let you kind of fool around with it, and then I'm going to take it back from you and give the remote control access to Stanley, and then let him fly. And just again, just keep in mind that there's a little bit of delay. You'll notice that in Active Teach a little bit when you start using some of the tools. So I'm just going to guide you though. So Jose, you have the access, and I'm just going to tell you kind of what you should do, so we can just look at this stuff together. All right. So why don't you go ahead and click on the Unit 1 Good Morning class. Okay. Now, do you guys remember what to do in order to increase or in order to get into Active Teach? Remember from yesterday?
Not really. Sorry.
Okay. So go ahead and just click on that page. All right, so this is, you'll see the facing pages. So this is technically page 1 and page 2. So do you guys remember what I said now, first of all, let me ask you this question. How visible is this document to you in front of you? Is it blurry? Is it, you said, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you want to teach from this page, or would you rather have it enhanced? What do you think?
Yeah, probably blown up.
If I can have it like filled up the whole screen for the student, it would be better. And not show him or her the controls.
Do you remember how to do that?
No.
I guess I should have told you I was testing.
Listen and read, isn't it? You just, like, if it's, oh, wait.
Yeah, so right where the sentence is, right?
Listen and point, listen, look at. It's a hyperlink, right?
Yeah, so, it's a hyperlink. So click, yeah, click on the actual sentence. Listen to read the thing. Yeah, click on the hyperlink. Very good. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, so basically, if you want to get into the active teach or presentation mode, then you would click on, hover over the instructions. So I've had to learn too, just like if you're hovering over the, the number, that doesn't really help as much, but so that's, don't feel bad to do it. So, but yeah, so there you go. And then do you guys remember the difference between these two icons?
The one on the left, the musical note, is it's what it says, listen and read, and the other one is a karaoke, and you told us it wasn't that good.
So, okay, so the musical note is going to actually play the song?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so go ahead and click on the music note. Do you remember what to do with the audio bank box? To get it away from the middle? There you go. Told you I was going to make you guys work.
So.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and pause it.
I'm not really, I just clicked on it because I wasn't listening.
Oh, no, not a problem. Go ahead, Stanley. What were you going to say?
I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear it? I know why. Oh, see, I made a mistake. Yay. Okay. Now, I know why. I know why you can't hear it. Okay, so this happens a lot. And I did this on purpose. I promise. I'm kidding. I did not do it on purpose. I forgot to do it. So it happens so often that if you can't hear it, which is fine, because what did you do? Jose, you had went all the way up, and you're probably checking your audio, like, why can't I hear it? Well, that's because when I shared the screen, I did one thing. I did not do one thing when I shared the screen. I did not share computer sound. So when I don't share computer sound, even though I click share screen and it's shared on the desktop, all of that, if I don't click share computer sound, it is very hard for you guys to hear it. So now that I did that, Jose, go ahead and go back to it and see if you guys can hear it.
Listen and read.
Yep.
Listen and read. Then
Much
sing
better?
the classroom song.
Song from yesterday.
And I'll let you guys, if you want to hear it, that's up to you, but, I know you guys want to sing. I know. You don't have to be afraid to admit.
Oh, man.
I've got a question.
Sure.
So when you resolved that audio problem just now, where did you do that? Did you
Okay,
go to
good.
the microphone and audio
No,
options?
I actually went back onto zhumu. You know how right now I have the screen shared? So if I'm going to go ahead and stop the share, and I'm going to let you see it on your own. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the share. So right now, you just see me probably. So, so Stanley, why don't you go ahead and go to your zhumu, go to new share or share, whatever it is, whatever button you see.
Share screen.
Mm-hmm. And you'll see.
You cannot start screen sharing.
Oh.
While the participant is sharing.
Oh, I know why. Probably because, oh, that's weird.
I'm still controlling the screen.
Now let me see. Okay. Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, so Stanley, can you try it and see if you can control the screen?
It's still telling me I can't.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, I know why. Hold on just 1 minute. Okay. There we go. That should be better now.
All right. Okay, and I'm just going to share the desktop. Oh, wait. Last time you said I need to, oh, there it is. Share computer sound. Right? So I click on that and then I share the screen. Okay.
Yep. So now we see, oh, hey, look, there's my map, just in a different, just of Europe.
I got inspired yesterday.
That's awesome. I love it. James, this is our new desktop. We need to find our new desktop. This is my colleague James, by the way. Say hello.
How you doing, James?
That's cool.
He said he got inspired and he decided to sing one.
I love
Where did you?
Yeah.
I'm crazy about
Nice.
that.
Oh. Actually, that was James. I saw James. I was like, "Where did you get that map?" And so then I just use it. And people make fun of me, like, "Why do you have a map of the United States?" I'm like, "I don't know." So I need to know where the states are.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah. So anyway. All right. Cool. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. So So now I can hear like pretty much. Probably like if you were typing or if you just started typing, I could probably hear that. So it's pretty.
And then audio, okay, so we in control of this thing, but then, oh wow, I'm getting some echo.
Oh, are you really? Yeah, it's probably because it's really loud. It's
Because I have my stuff turned up so loud.
Yes.
Okay, let me turn it down.
Yeah, so we can hear that tapping. Yeah, so you'll probably, yeah.
Sorry.
No, yeah, it's fine.
The computer is slow. What is going on, man?
And it's probably just because it's the system. Sometimes the system just slows down the bandwidth or the speed a little bit.
All right. It's trying to catch up with all those buttons I pressed. Okay. But anyway, so whenever I'm in control and if I go all the way over to the right and click on the 3 button, the more button, and it's got audio options in there. Mm-hmm. Is that where you went?
Yes, that's where I was yesterday to test the audio. Yeah. So now what I can see.
Testing. That's just for testing. That's not.
Yeah, that's just for testing.
Okay, that doesn't allow us to hear what's happening on your computer sound.
No, it's just whenever you share a screen, like if you're Stanley, you're sharing the screen and then you click the audio button. Now Jose and I could hear what's going on. Like I can only see your screen. Jose can only see your screen. So when you stop sharing the screen, so it's because it's sharing the other person's information, essentially. So when you stop sharing the screen and like Jose starts sharing the screen, he has to click that audio button in order for us to hear what's going on, So the only reason.
But let's imagine I clicked, I started to share the screen and I didn't click that button.
Yes.
Do I just click the new share again?
Yes, very good. Yes. Okay, that's what you're saying. Yeah. Yes. And that's what I did. I clicked new share again, and then I clicked on it, then I clicked share, and then it shared the audio sound. So if you can't, so if that's probably the problem, just double check the computer sound and you just click new share again.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Sorry about that. But now that you are sharing the screen, I can see, and this is, you'll see that you have sort of a different toolbar that sort of pops up, right? It automatically does that. You can't really tell if it's a big change. But now my screen and Jose's screen are the exact same. So meaning we have our view options up above and we have our toolbar on the bottom, and we can't move the toolbar around. However, you, as sharing the screen, you can move your toolbar different spots on the computer. Your view options button is now on your toolbar. Whereas it's not like that for Jose and I. We don't really have that option. Like we can only view a few options. We can request a remote control. We can annotate, but we don't have as many options as you do as the person who's sharing the screen. So
is view options. I have options, but I don't have them under a button that says view options.
No, you have it under more.
Okay.
Yeah, the more the ellipses, those are your view options screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right.
So, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and you could stop the screen share, and then Jose. Yeah. So Jose, did you want to check out the computer audio thing too, or did you?
No, I got it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so I will go back to sharing my screen, and go back to Big English.
By the way, Jose, is your earpiece, that's wired, or is that?
Yeah, it's wired.
It is wired.
Yeah, I already lectured him on it.
And is it cool, or is it
it's not the over the head one. I have that one. This one's a monster. It cost me around like $40.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because the guy that sold it to me was like, if you want good quality audio, you need to pay a little bit more for it.
Mm-hmm. Is it working out okay? There's no feedback, or?
I'm not getting any feedback myself, but I don't know if you can hear something that I'm not listening to earlier. But,
yeah, I don't know what was happening earlier, but right now it's fine.
It's fine. Well, it works out great. It was worth $40, I guess.
And Manya, the
Yes.
headset that you have, because it incorporates hearing and a microphone.
Yeah.
But do they put does it come in one connector?
Yeah,
it's a USB connector. What is it?
Yep, that's it. Just a little headphone.
Oh, it's like
jack. Just a little headphone jack.
Audio jack.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's a Philips, and it was $20 at CVS. Okay. So.
Now I was gonna spend like $12 on one, but he was like, "No, don't go for those. Those are cheap. They will break. Go for a little bit better."
He's a good salesman.
Yeah. Well, so far I don't have any complaints. So he was a good salesman then. That's it.
I'm gonna run to Walmart and see what kind of prices they have on.
Yeah, because like I was just gonna, I just bought one really quick, and then I've had this since October, so they work. It's been pretty good. And I use it for kind of cheap, so I don't really have like a Bluetooth. so I use it for on my way home, like if I need to make phone calls, it works just fine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've been looking for some over-the-head headphones that I have that I won off a raffle like 4 years ago. They're Dr. Dre's Monster Beats, but I can't find them anywhere.
Oh man!
Ah, well, the Beats, huh?
That was some money right there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I need to save them. I don't want to lose them. I don't want to break them. And I saved them so well somewhere.
Yeah, now they're just gone. Oh boy. Well, hopefully you find them. Okay, so why don't we just continue navigating here? And I think, did I give you back remote control access? Okay, Jose, I gave you back remote control access. So why don't you go ahead, you can X out the audio bank, but before you do that, so now that we have the audio situation fixed, let me just double check. Okay, so I shared the computer screen. And by the way, just going back to the sharing computer screen, once you click on it, the first time during a session, I don't think you should always double check, but I don't think you have to re-click it. So unless you end the meeting. So so let's say you pause a share or you stop a share and then you go back to share again. I think the click or the box stays ticked, So but just always double check. I always do just in case. But go ahead, Jose, and kind of continue navigating. I mean, you can, if you want to, check the little bubble there, above there that has like the little, the thought bubble that's next to the volume on the audio bank. I just wanted you guys to recall that section. Yeah, just above on the audio bank, there's a little talking bubble. Yeah. So that, when you press play, go ahead and press play again. And that actually...
Good morning, class. Good morning.
So it actually, I like it if you wanted to use that for any reason.
To see you. We're happy to see you.
Okay.
So it has the different dialogue, the people who should be singing if you have multiple
My
people.
name is Sue. My pencil is...
Like a karaoke.
Yeah, karaoke, exactly. And I guess that's if you use the karaoke button, that little microphone, and they wanted to sing, then that would be something you can do. But
please take out your
to be real honest, I haven't tested it. So I tested it once, it didn't seem to work. That's the only problem. So like we tried it out when I tried it out with the China team, it wasn't a feature that worked well. So
Okay.
your own time if you wanted to see it, yeah. So anyway, that's another option. So and then I think you just click on the thought bubble again to get rid of that, or you can just X out the whole thing. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And so how to navigate? So basically, you see the bottom right hand side. There's the little navigation pane right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can click on the arrow buttons to navigate each page. So that just goes from one presentation page to another, kind of like a PowerPoint. So especially, and this is obviously good if you're going to go from, the song to the next page to the next page. However, if you are already knee deep into the unit, let's say, and you're always, but you always start the lesson with the song, right? But you don't want to have to go through every single page to get to your next page, your next lesson. So what you could do, you can use that, there you go, navigate to any page, and then you can go directly to your unit. It's kind of hard to kind of look at it, but you could go directly unit 1, go up, there you go, unit 1, and then you could see how it's in increments of 2 pages. So so you go to your song, go to page 8 and 9, And then now you can, start your lesson. And you can see that, I mean, that's what I think is perfect, a perfect design for, 2 pages each lesson. You don't have to go beyond that, although I've seen it. So, but you can see there's 1, 2, 3, there are already 5 exercises right here.
Mm-hmm. A lot of information.
Yeah, there's a lot of information. And sometimes, though, sometimes you will notice, like, it might not work. Like, why don't we click on, and I'm going to really test your skills here. I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the navigation tool. So the toolbar, the Big English toolbar, all the way to the left. So, but before we do that, go ahead and click on listen. Go ahead and click on listen, count, and color. Click on the hyperlink or the words there on listen, count, and color. Lesson 15. Okay, so this could be used in multiple ways. It could be used to just to describe what's on the desk or what's in the classroom. However, if you want them to color, suggestion is that you do not use the coloring module that Big English provides, which is there. Yes, so like the highlighter, but I'm going to ask you to use it for this, for just so you can see how difficult it is to use it. So the reason why is just because of the, with the computer lingo, I don't quite know, but it's just a big delay compared to zhumu. We have kind of going through this, our IT department had just decided, it's probably best that if the students want to color, they can use the annotation tool on zhumu. You don't have to give them remote control access to do it. You would have to do that if, for using Big English though, because it's not part of zhumu. However, like if you ask Stanley, okay, Stanley, I want you to color the backpack green. And so he can go into his little annotation tool on zhumu or find it. And then he can find the green color. He can use whatever tool he wants to use, whether it be a marker, something else, and start coloring his favorite backpack green, or a favorite color or whatever.
Marker.
There you go. See, and he's able to do that. Yeah, he's able to draw. He can write on Big English. But do you remember? Yeah, he can use. Yeah, like I can. Let's see. Let me use something here.
Sorry.
No problem. Let's see. Like, yeah, like I can use something. Like here's like, okay, I want to color mine red. I use the highlighter or something. Where are all the crayons? How many crayons are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crayons. There you go. So what's the trick with zhumu that you guys recall? What you have to do before you move to the next page with using the annotation toolbar and the drawing? Is there a rule? What's that, Jose?
I know the answer.
What's he? Yes, Jose.
You either have to use the eraser or click the clear button, which is the trash can.
All right, good. Gold star, 5 of them.
Yay!
Not my purple flowers.
Yeah, so if you move to the next page, I mean, obviously quickly you'll realize like, oh man, I have to clear the page because I've done that before. So why don't we though, I'm going to ask you though, Jose, I'm going to ask you to use the Big English tool and see what you can do there. First though, let's see. Oops. Oh, darn it. Come on. I have to. Oh, but by the way, in order to get out of the annotation, to go back to your mouse, you just click mouse. So that way, so you can just, you can erase, erase whatever, and then you can go back and just click mouse. That way you have your mouse back. But I think I'm trying to figure out where my color options are. So I don't use this very often, so I think it's right there. Maybe not. Nope, that's not it either. Okay. Well, that's okay. It's no problem. Jose, why don't you go ahead and, use the highlighter, that the second full on the second row, and see how well that works. Oh, okay, there you go. There, the colors are appear after you click on it.
Oh my God, this is horrible to me.
Isn't that the worst ever? Okay.
Yeah, it's like
it's really hard. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
then try. So what you do to get rid of it, you click on the. I think you click on the mouse. And good luck trying to do that. It's really hard. It's like.
There we go. Yay.
Yeah. All right. I'm just curious. I'm going to ask now. I'm going to give I'm going to go ahead and ask Stanley to do the same thing. I gave you. I wish I could give everybody remote control access at the same time, but I can't. So, Stanley, now that you have control, why don't you try to see if you can draw your name using the big English.
The big English.
Pen. Yeah, the big red pen. Click on the pen. The highlighter is fine too.
Oh, snap it. That thing is super, wait a minute. I'm trying to find the color. Where do we get the
okay, so click on the pen again. You'll have to probably, click on the pen. There you go. And then it goes to color. So you just got to click on the color itself.
Okay, well, it's already red. That's right.
Yeah, it's already red. It's fine. So
Oh, wow, the delay. There's all kinds of delay.
So this is why we don't have the student use the pen. Is that an S?
That's my 2-year-old handwriting. Are you kidding me? I can't get this pen to do what I wanted to do. Oh, that is so bad. Okay, I'm almost there.
You might just have to write Stan.
Exactly, because we can be here.
This could take you 25 minutes.
Okay. This is crazy. Like this big English, there is really massive delay there.
And this is the only issue with this program that I find is the fact that you can't really use the tools here, but that's okay because we have the zhumu annotation tools. We don't need those ones. Now what I'm going to show you that's most useful though for this toolbar. Let's see. I'm gonna go. Wow.
Until it was written by my.
It's what?
It was written by a grown man.
Yeah, yeah, you can tell. Yeah, so just notwithstanding these sort of like, and by the way, I do like big English. Like, let's say you just used it anyways, you can clear it right away. Use this button here.
Oh, that's the erase button. Right?
Yeah, that's the erase. Yeah, that's like the little
water bottle.
It's like a water bottle, but this eraser is like the worst. It's like it doesn't work very well. So, and it takes forever. So you can do that. But with these, obviously, you want to make sure that you do clear the neck because it will.
I had a question and I just answered myself. If I write on it and I press the clear button in Zoom, it just erases what I wrote. It doesn't erase what the other person writes.
Oh yeah, just you hover over it and it should clear. Yeah,
it cleared mine, but it didn't clear.
Right.
Clear yours.
If you were, yes, that's a good point. But if you were sharing the screen, like you're sharing the screen for the student, like you actually have this up, you have the option to clear all the drawing, clear your own drawing, or just clear others' drawing. So I'm just going to clear others' drawing, and that would just be Stan's drawing. I think so his purple flowers are gone, I think. And now I'm going to clear my drawing or clear all drawing. And that's that's all the drawing. So you'll have that option to clear your drawing or the student's drawing.
Only if you're in control of the
You're no longer in control. But I just took the control back because I just wanted to show you a few things, and I'll give you control again. So,
Okay.
So for instance, I'm just going to show you. So I showed you those 3 things and how difficult it is, and now you know why you shouldn't use those. But you can use, because let me tell you, I've emphasized it before. I'm like, okay, just make sure you don't use those, and people will use them. And they're like, why can't I use them? I'm like, so it's just better to demonstrate than just tell you. So, but these ones are useful. So this down here, this is a little a little note. This is actually fun. You can actually use this for your own notes. So let's say, let's say you have like 5 students in a row or something, and you want to make sure that Ellen, Kate, you want to just give your notes 20, whatever. Stay on this page, and then move to page. Because you just click on it here and it just stays, so you can keep it. If you let's say you left Big English open, all day long, and you just want to leave notes on there, that's a useful tool. If you don't like it, you can throw it away.
But once I finish all the lessons for the scheduled time, that note won't stay there. It would go away because at the beginning I clicked don't save my work. Yes,
that's the key.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you keep Big English open on your desktop. So
exactly.
if you kept it open on your computer, didn't turn it off. And once you exit out of it, then it resets it. So it's useful for the day or something like that, but because even if you saved your work, if for some it doesn't save properly, you can't go right back into it. So this link is useful if you wanted a quick link to internet, if you wanted to show them something. So that's kind of nice.
Hold up. Pull that up again.
So it's this little link right here down on the bottom.
Okay.
You just go ahead, link little thing, and then you just type in the link, whatever it is.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's nice, and then it just keeps the link there, just like the notes. So you can kind of scatter this all throughout if you wanted to, depending on what you're doing. And if you don't like it, just throw it away.
Can't take that water bottle after it, huh?
Oh, I think that's just for the drawing. And this one's neat too. Like if you had an outside source, like another type of source that was saved to your computer, you can connect that on there too. Like if you had a picture, an article, like let's say you had something related to this photograph and it was a picture of your class or something you wanted to show your students. So you can attach that file there, and then it will just be sitting there, kind of as a reminder. You can open it up and it will open up to your file. So that's pretty convenient. That way you're not, like for me, like if I, we're going through this, and instead of having to pause the share and go back and forth and, go to the different screens, I just have everything right here and then just click on it and go right to it. So, so that's that. Now, let's see. I will throw that away. All right. So I just wanted to show you those 3 things. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to hand the remote control back to I'm going to give it to Stanley this time. Stanley, if you want to, you could use those 3 things, and then I could give it to Jose and use it, or you can actually, I think you can actually give up remote control access to Jose. It's very likely you can do that too.
I can give up remote control.
Oh, okay. Give it up. Okay. All right.
Is that what you want me to do?
I don't think it gives it up to Jose, but if you give it up, then I can just give it to Jose.
It goes back to you.
Yeah.
Right.
So, no, I was gonna say if you wanted to use those links, like if you wanted to check those out on your own,
okay.
See how well it works on your end. I think it works okay, actually.
Yeah.
I've seen teachers use this section if they wanted the students to write their name or write, their favorite books, or tell them to write out how many backpacks they see on the wall, So, so that's a pretty neat feature.
And if I want to get rid of it. Okay. Good. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh my goodness. You can see oh, that's hilarious.
Oh wait, what is it?
That's the best. It's a map of my
location.
My location. That's cool.
Not mine.
Not yours, because it's based on my because you're sharing my screen. So
that's cool. So
now I'm actually in LA and I'm not somewhere in China.
So I can see where the student is, right?
What's that?
I could see where my student is located.
That's probably no. If they were sharing their screen, so you are controlling my screen. So
okay.
So if you ask them to control, they would be able to see where you are, but not necessarily the other way around unless they were sharing their screen. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's cool. Now.
So go ahead and click the little pink button on the bottom of my.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. the P? Oh, there.
Yeah, the PP. Yeah, there you go.
Oh Lord. All right, let's get rid of this guy. And I won't do the folder. I know how to do that.
Okay. Well, you want to color more? Well, you're open to doing it. You have an annotation tool, so. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give the screen. Let's see. Why don't I I'll let you kind of fool around with this, and I'll give the screen back to Jose.
Okay.
Too. Everybody gets a chance to color. So Stanley, everybody gets to color. I know. It's very exciting. There's something called a whiteboard tool that I like about Big English. So if you recall from the lesson plan that we looked at that I told you one of our teachers had created, one of the segments that she had on there was the student being able to draw on the whiteboard. So if you wanted them to, draw their favorite pet or whatever it is related to the lesson, you can actually use the whiteboard, and there is a tiny little icon to the left-hand side of our Big English toolbar that looks like a little pen and a white pad. So
right there.
And that just goes directly to the whiteboard. So now everybody has a chance to draw whatever they want here. Using the Big English tools. You can even use the text box too. So especially the text box, and maybe I'll try to find a section where they can do fill in the blank, but I can use the text box to write my name. And then click on it. So that's actually useful. I can draw on here. we can all draw at the same time, no?
If I use the annotate one, I guess I can.
Yeah, if you're using the annotation tool, definitely. Just the zhumu. This gives you the opportunity to just, you know, do what you want, yeah. If you'll notice though, yeah, you're, so obviously we don't see exactly, there's a little bit of a delay, but that's fine too, you know.
You can't see what I'm writing.
Wow, that's
Yeah, I can't
pretty
see
good.
it while you're writing it. Like for instance, if I use the text box, you guys can click on one of the text box too. But if you know, if I click on the text box, you can't see that I'm writing it until it's already written.
Okay. I have no idea what to draw.
No problem. Yeah, so, and by the way, if you, I think though you still have to clear all the drawing, but I don't know, why don't we try it? Let's see what happens if you don't clear all the drawing. I'm pretty sure you have to though. Click on go ahead and click on the little white, the white pen, I'm sorry, the blue pen with the white paper again, so the notepad and paper.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
On the big English toolbar.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just click, yep, there you go. Oh wait, what happened?
All right, let me. Okay, I clicked on it.
I wonder what happened. You're just supposed to go back. It's supposed to go back to. Go back.
It's kind of cancel out. Oh wait.
Yeah, let's see. I'm supposed to go back to your to.
You know what?
You know, it's okay.
It's doing a text box. Why is it doing that?
Well, let's. Oh yeah, on a text box. Why is that? Oh, you know why? Because I didn't. There we go. Okay. Oh, because my text box. So I think if you click back onto it, oh, see, you still have to click out. Okay. So if you click back onto, you can click on the little notepad to go back to your lesson. But remember, you just do got to clear all of the drawing.
So clear all using this annotation thing.
Yeah, using zhumu.
Zhumu.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you just cleared that, right?
I did. I was patient.
No. Well, I was clicking on it, but it wasn't clearing.
Oh, it didn't clear it, huh? Oh, that's.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was like clicking on it.
Did
Using
you click on
annotate, you click on clear, right? No.
Yeah, if you click on it, did the drop-down menu didn't come down or anything?
The drop-down menu came down, and I was able to get into annotate. But when I clicked clear all, it wasn't clearing all. That's why you had to do it.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe it's only the host or the person sharing the screen can do it. So that makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I learn something new every day on the system, I tell you. All right. Well, let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Well, let's see. Why don't we go? I'm going to go to one more page here, and let's look at the see if there's a page where we can fill in the blank. So let's see. There's okay, here we go. So we're going to do a couple matching and maybe fill in the blank. So there's not really anything here, but there is like write your name type thing. So this is kind of basic. This is like first level. Okay. All right. So why don't Stanley go ahead and go ahead and do this. I'll have you do it too, Jose, so you get the opportunity to see what it's like.
To type?
We can all do it at the same time. It's not really that difficult because we're using zhumu. So why don't we click again and click the text box this time. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jose, you have to finish the sentence now. But actually, it would be my name is Stanley Manya, and Jose would be my. Our names are. So I guess we have to correct the grammar.
It says that right now I detached the keyboard.
Oh, you did?
I can't. Yeah, so because I'm taking annotations like.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. You don't have to write anything.
No, and I'm trying to pull out the keyboard right here, but it's like blocked out. I can only use like zhumu. I can't access anything else.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's not a problem. You know.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Let me see something. Oh no, I can't. No, I can't. Sorry.
Okay. No problem.
Okay. It says that I have to use the other laptop I have. It says that this
That
one
was
is
wrong,
practical to use.
Our names are. See, that's even wrong.
Our name.
Is that correct, boys and girls? No.
No.
Clear. Mm-hmm.
How selfish I am. I just put my name first. Okay, hold on.
Only.
Ladies first.
Ladies first. No, that's because I was just thinking of myself, not anybody else. Okay. I was actually trying to fix this here. Oh no, I can't do that. I have to. So I can't. You can use the drawing tool to, obviously X out of something if you wanted to change anything. The text tool is useful whenever you're asking them to complete something, like to do writing, and especially if you're assessing or testing their writing. That would be the tool that you use on zhumu. Just remember, clear all.
Mm-hmm.
Already tested. What don't we do? If you want them to write, what don't we do?
Don't use big English.
Yeah, don't use big English. There is a text. Yeah, there is a text box here for English.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like bad. It's just that it's just kind of hard. Like you can use it and you can see the little, but you have to kind of move it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's there, and the thing is with Big English too, it's like if you navigate the next page, it doesn't appear.
Mm.
That would be the useful part of it, but then again, I feel just to be uniform for the drawing, annotation, just use Big English, or I'm sorry, use zhumu, just so that because they're going to be they're already going to be sort of trained on it beforehand. Our Chinese team will tell them how to use the annotation and drawing tools on zhumu. So if they're introduced a new thing, it might just take that much longer, so. I think if you just want to erase it, just do that, I suppose. All right. So
there's no way to minimize that toolbox.
For zhumu or for you don't you can for Big English. I think there's there's this little tool right here. Yeah, you can do that.
You can minimize it.
Yeah, you minimize it. You don't need to keep it on there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Kind of like
Totally. I see that often. It's kind of distracting, but it's it's still like a good for me. It's a good reminder that okay, I can make a note or whatever, but use the whiteboard type thing. But yeah, definitely. All right. So let's see. Stanley, I'm going to go ahead and give you the remote control back. You have it still. And I'm going to ask you to go, kind of like what I asked Jose to do, but I'm going to ask you to go back to Unit 1 and then go, I think, to the last pages of Unit 1.
Oops.
Navigate. Yeah, you can do that, or you can do that. Now, what do you think that would do if you click that one? Go up a page, okay.
It'll go up a level.
Yeah, it goes up a level. But did you click on it already?
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pull up all of the lessons like you did before.
Yeah.
And I forgot how to do that.
That's it. Navigate
That's
to any
it.
page, yeah. And then go up to Unit 1.
When it says go up a level, does it mean go up a unit, go up a lesson?
Go up an entire, I think it goes up an entire unit.
Okay.
So if you're like on level, let's say you're, or it goes up to the beginning.
I can't see this thing.
So if you can't see it, you should probably minimize or move our pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or move us onto the other side or something.
Awesome.
Trust me, I do it, and then I'm like, I know there's another solution to this. What is it?
All right, Unit 1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the same one, Good Morning Class.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
And then maybe pages 12 to 13.
Okay.
Right to the end there. All right, so maybe we want to choose, yeah, one thing I noticed too, it does have like the type of lesson that they'll be learning that day. So review, listening, and speaking, and then hear vocabulary and grammar. But obviously not as explicit as, you know. So I think that we're going to continue using the annotation tools, but the matching tools this time, and see what the best matching tools are. So for using annotation on zhumu. So go and look and listen, look, and match, and click on that hyperlink on, yeah, 26. Okay. So, so let's use, you know, you go ahead. I'll take the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order, you know, or whatever. Maybe I'll just do number 1, Jose number 2, and number 3 is Stanley. So okay. You guys go ahead and choose what you think would be the best drawing tool on zhumu to connect your item to the sentence.
And number 3.
So go on to zhumu and go use. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which tools did you guys use?
I like just the simple pen on the zhumu pen.
Yeah, I went to draw, clicked on it, the one right next to the curved line. Which I
there's the curvy line, which is like the pen. There's that one. There's also there's a little arrow one right there that you can use.
Oh, nice.
2 arrow ones that you can use.
Ew.
There's the little simple. You could even change the color on these things too. So if you guys wanted I wanted purple instead of red, you know. So especially if you have multiple students, you know, you would ask them, okay, pick your favorite color, and then, you know, then they can choose their favorite color. Yeah, so that's pretty simple on matching, I think. And that would make it real easy for them to, you know, again, it's fast, it's, you know, it's expedient, and then you just, okay, now we're done, you know, and that kind of teaches them. That could be a whole like 5 to 7 minute lesson right there. So, so that's matching. And so you'll see multiple types of lessons like this or exercises throughout the units. Like matching, coloring, drawing, you know, so you have your options. All right, so so here's some just technical things. Last, and we'll just kind of, and I know that we've already run over a little bit of time, so I apologize for that, but we'll end it with some questions you have. Do you guys have any questions about this stuff so far? Maybe do you want to click on the go up level just to see where that goes?
This one right here.
Oh yeah, you got to click the mouse again. So you got to click because you're on draw. So you got to click the mouse on the toolbar of the zhumu annotation.
What is going on?
I think I'm actually controlling it, so that's why I think I'll see if you can.
Okay, so mouse. And then I get out of that, and then and it switches back. As soon as I click on the upward arrow, it switches back to this, what looks like, yeah, it switches back to the draw. Why is it doing that?
Let me see if I can do, maybe it's because, again, it's on my screen, so, okay, go ahead. I think it's because it's my screen, so I don't know if I have to do it or not, but yeah.
Okay, it worked that time.
Let's say go up a level and see what it does. Okay, so yeah, it just goes to the previous page.
Okay.
So that's fine. And it goes up a level, so like if you were to click the navigation pane all the way to the right and you were still in presentation mode, then it would just go to the next presentation slide. But if you were to click go up a level, then it goes to the actual ebook itself.
Mm.
So I hope that answered your question, Jose, because I've done it before where it goes right to the beginning, but that's probably because I was in the beginning of the unit. So
Okay.
yeah, so up one level just means up one ebook page or ebook pages. All right, so last thing I was going to just show you guys, and yesterday we sort of navigated this, but this is really simple. The resource manual. So if you wanted to, let's see, I can go ahead and do this myself. So let's see, this is the teacher resource manual that you already have access to on the Google Drive. But this is this 200-page document that really a lot of this has a lot of good information. Here's a table of contents. So tips, techniques, the different student learning styles in detail, different types of learning strategies, some other integrated learning, content language integrated learning that has been incorporated into our rubrics already. Mm-hmm. Time guidelines. This is the timetable that is suggested for Big English, but it's based on like a 40 or 50-minute lesson. So, so some of the lesson plans have been drawn from that. And then a lot of this is just, like extra games, cutouts and things that you can use or not use. These are useful handbook tools, teaching like older students or younger to older students. So this is not necessary that you have to, here's a little bit of information about TPR. This is not entirely crucial that you look through this, but it would be helpful if you're maybe you're stuck on a lesson or you're not quite sure how to get through the student. This is just another resource for you to help you along with that. And I try ever so often to kind of go through some of these things too, especially if you need extra help, or you've exhausted all of your own resources and you want to go back to, like planning class, for instance. This is just, here it is right here. Big English is designed so that it can be completed over the course of one school year at the rate of 2 to 3 student book pages most weeks. Mm. So there's this. That's key because it's very important that we don't rush through these lessons. That could create some. It could create some issues with the student. Maybe they're learning too fast, or maybe they don't feel like they're at the level they should be, type thing. So so that's why it says here 2 time guidelines are provided on these pages. So if you have more time, following strategies can be helpful to fill the time. So if you feel like, okay, you ran out of the lesson, you don't need to go and try to go through the whole unit. Maybe you can now start a conversation, or like here it says other activities, and then there's some other activities suggested. So these are just like a lot of these too. What you'll find with planning classes, they are geared towards maybe the bigger classroom or in the classroom. So this is where you use your skill set to engage a student, especially if you feel you ran out of time. But we've already looked at the material. There's probably not a chance that you're going to run out of time, 25 minutes. So again, the planning classes, this is based on a 40 to 50-minute time guideline. And our tutoring classes are just 25 minutes right now. So There has been, I'm going to scroll down really quick just so you can see the time guideline, but there has been some times where students want to go an entire hour. I have seen that. So if that, if that does happen, so you can just plan a lesson for an entire hour. So here it is. I think there's a way to rotate this. I have to find it, though. I forget how to do it. Rotate, where are you? Oh, I think it's up here. Okay.
So if that were to happen, a student wants an hour-long session, does it mean that it's going to be 25-minute sessions? Or
yeah, it would be 1 hour, so it would be like your 15, it would be your whole hour that you
50 minutes.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
okay.
the 50 minutes or 50 minutes, right. And basically you get paid for that hour. You get paid an hour, It's a 50-minute lesson, but you get paid for the whole hour. So there's a rotate tool. Hold on. Maybe not. I'm looking at the rotate tool, but I don't see it. Well, I hate for you guys to have to look sideways, but let's see, where is it? Somebody showed me this, and now I don't see it. Okay. But you can see here that this is just an example of the different weeks that they would, that one would go through the class, week 1, week 2. I don't want to share it. I want to rotate. Zoom? Mm-mm. Oh, well. Okay, and then, so 2 sessions per week, 3 sessions, 4 sessions, and I think 5 sessions here. That's the one that's more like these are 40 to 50-minute sessions. Mm-hmm. Again, geared if you're going to, if you're actually going through an entire class, but you can pick and choose these if you wanted to when you're creating your own lesson plans, but that's just their suggestions as far as a timetable is concerned. It's not entirely, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. But you do have a lot of other tools here that are useful, and why Big English would be important for student learning outcomes, the different ways Big English is used to, like, for instance, this is cool, like, learning and innovation. So what active and creative learners are likely to become productive and innovative adults. So a lot of English tools all integrated within that to help along that matter. And that's why I think Pearson does a really good job with the research that they've implemented to help stuff like critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and collaboration. So collaboration, especially if they're like, more than one student, but even just dialoguing with their teacher. So, so again, I don't want to have to, regurgitate this information that's already here that you guys can go through. But if you want to, have like another session later on about the different types of, like, for instance, learning strategies, if this is something that's new to you, or even like, for instance, here, I'm going to kind of go up, and the different learning styles and how, let's say you have a particular student that you're having trouble with and you're not quite sure how to get through them, and maybe we can think about, well, what type of learner is this student, and, we can go through some of the components of different types of learners, see how well, and this is what I think is really cool about this resource, is that it tells you what a visual learner is, but how you can work using Big English to really activate their learning style and activate learn that particular type of lesson. So we were talking about classroom management tips and like trying to get their attention type thing, but this would be a good little tool for you to refer to, right? So you've got visual, auditorial, tactile, kinesthetic, multiple intelligences. That's kind of neat. So a lot of information and at your disposal. And some other suggestions and things like that. So Okay. Do you guys have any questions about this information? Again, we didn't have a lot of time, but you can. I don't want to overwhelm you. I want to show you this, but I don't want to overwhelm you with everything. So.
That's on the drive, so we can get to it.
Yes, it's on the drive, and once you get it's actually, I want to say that every single, so these are it says Big English 1, 2, 3. I think that this is the first 3 levels has this exact same resource. Then once you get into the older kids levels, 4, 5, 6, it has a similar resource just to address older student issues, and concerns and how to use Big English, for those levels. Yeah. So, yep. So you have the chance to review all of that. There will not be a test on this, so, but you can certainly have it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. So any questions for me right now before we sign off, and then I try to put together another email for you guys.
I had a question. It's a 25-minute tutor, right? Is there going to be like a timer on the screen that I can like see, or is it like, do I have to have my own perception of it?
Good question. So no, but Big English does have a timer here. Okay. So you can use the stopwatch if you wanted to time yourself if you thought that would be accurate.
It's just that from my experience, I get too involved with the kids and doing all the activities that if I don't have a watch or clock on in the classroom, I lose track of time, and then the other teacher knocks on the door and goes like, "You're like way past your time." Like,
well, you guys. So here's a good little tool right here. So if you go into Toolbox, and then you go into Stopwatch, you can either count down the time, or you can just use a stopwatch. So and you can start it, and then that will count down the time for you right there. And you can have this on on the same page. You can condense it, I think, here a little bit, make it smaller. Okay. You need to have that little stopwatch, and maybe well, that's
wow.
That will really tell you you need to stop there. But yeah, you can minimize it, and then maybe every once in a while, just to see how your time is. That's an option for you. Or you can do a stopwatch, but this might be, I don't know if it rings or anything like that, but it, and I just don't know that, but let's see, stop, we can do reset. Maybe we could do 30 seconds, see what happens. I don't know.
5 seconds.
5 seconds, I gotta figure out how to make it big again. Okay, oh, I see. So you got it, and then there are these arrows here. Let's see what it does. It does nothing. it doesn't. So maybe, yeah, it just doesn't ring or anything like that. So stopwatch, that's obviously just, timing you. So, but, you have that there if you want to use that, if you want to use your own watch, but there's nobody. So there will be a person or people monitoring, every once in a while to help, like, especially for the Chinese student. So, so you'll know, and they might say, okay, Jose, or maybe they'll type something to you, or they'll send you a WeChat message, make sure that you only stay within the time, 25 minutes type thing. Yeah. Or another teacher's coming in the class, we better, wrap it up, type thing. Yeah. So you may want to just time yourself. You're going to do this, I would time yourself for like 22 minutes. So that way, you have 3 minutes to wrap it up, Yeah. But yeah, this seems to be one of the more useful tools, or just timing yourself. But it doesn't just cut off. It's, you don't just get cut off after a certain amount of time. So.
Okay.
Because the idea too is that you might be, let's say you're teaching like 3 classes in a row and you're in the same room teaching the same classes. You have a 5-minute break for the other student to log in, for you to go to the bathroom and all of that stuff, So, so you might, if you go over a little bit, then yeah, you're on your own. You got to make sure you're on your own time, or that you gauge your own time. So, all right. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
If you can give me a recap real quick on what we need to do by our next meeting on Friday.
Okay. And the next meeting is just a video meeting, so, or a recording. So we don't have to meet live. Yeah, we don't have to meet live. So I just put it on the Calendly link just to give you guys a heads up that, you should probably be focused on this particular aspect of the training, which is just a for all rubrics training. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, so you guys can maybe navigate it on your own, but so for all rubrics is this section here, okay? And if you probably won't, I'll create a password for you, a username and password, and have you log in and kind of give you that information, and then let you navigate for all rubrics, okay, on your own. But the video is just going to give you, it's going to show you like how, it's not going to show you how to sign in, but it's going to show how you, once you're already in, what it looks like inside, okay? Because the video is between me and 2 other teachers that have already been in the system a little bit. They know a little bit about it, so I'm just giving them a little bit of training on the rubric that we're using, how they need to go into the rubric, how they need to use the rubric, okay, how they need to publish the results of the rubric, and then basically some of those variables in between. There is once you have your login system, there is a little tutorial on for all rubrics. So what it is, what it does. It's an assessment system for the basically for a class of students, but we're just doing individual students. So so you'll have like your set of students, like, I will assign students to you. So let's say Stanley and Jose, you guys got 3 students. Before you know your schedule, I'll know that these are your students, and I'll put them in a for all rubrics for you. So when you're done with the lesson, and it's already on your calendar, and you're done with the lesson, then you just go into for all rubrics and you will use the assessment, tool. So, but the reason why I have this as a video, so I can, because it's not a crucial component before your trial lessons with the China and the LA teams. So we could give you enough time to, once you watch the video and you might have questions, if you have questions, then we could set maybe like individual kind of discussion, like maybe half an hour or something, to kind of go through it again and, make sure you're on the same page as far as what you need to do with the material. Okay. So yeah, so Friday will be the day, Thursday, Friday, whatever, will be the day that you can go through the video lesson, and then when you're done, you can go on to the SurveyMonkey. I'll send you like a link to a SurveyMonkey. You can complete the SurveyMonkey. Okay. But in between that time, I will also send you a link to set up a time to meet with me on trial lesson, okay, for Big English. So I will give you immediate access to the first level of Big English, which is what we were looking at. And you can choose Unit 1 to submit your lesson. You can choose any unit, really. And you have access to the lesson plan. So if you wanted to, hey, here's my lesson plan in advance to kind of get practice on what you would actually do in the real, in real time. That's a possibility. But I would like to just, again, one of the first things is send you a link to the calendar for the trial lesson. And then another step would be to send you your link for the For All Rubrics training, okay? So here, next steps is just teaching the trial lesson to the staff, and this is just some ideas on how to do that, okay? You'll teach your first trial lesson to me, then you'll teach your subsequent trial lessons to the China team, okay? So that's what I would just sort of focus on this week, is just trying to see if you could schedule a lesson for either, if you're ready on Friday, great, next week. But for sure, also scheduling your lesson and then looking at For All Rubrics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we already did 5. So just to recap, we already did 5 hours of training. And project success, that will be later. That's a 4 hour.
Okay.
At least 3 trial lessons on Big English with our staff upon first assignment. So this is just a recap of what's already in the training manual. You'll send me your month in advance, so your June schedule to me, and try to see if you can schedule at least 6 hours in a week. Okay, I do ask the teacher manual for details. All lessons are scheduled through our tutoring management software called TeachWorks. So that's a separate system from the For All Rubrics, which is just rubric generation, okay? Grade levels, so we kind of talked about that, how those are assigned. Okay. Preparation time. So you have, try to, prepare 6 to 12 hours. The manual says 12 hours, minimum, max, or the minimum is 6 hours if you could do that. And it depends on your time, because, the China team does ask for a little bit of time in advance, so they have time to prepare the student in advance. Let's see. So again, just a reminder, try to be timely to your appointments. Make sure you notify us if you're going to be late or if there is a cancellation. Same with the student. So any absences, just make sure you send us, that information. You're going to be absent. Student progress, again, that's what we just talked about, the For All Rubrics. So here's a note. If the student switches instructors, teachers will gain access to another student's profile information. So let's say Jose and Stanley, you guys are, Jose, you're working on a particular student. They switch instructors for whatever time reasons. I have the ability to transfer that students all of their information to Stanley without you having to reinvent the wheel and all that. So if like you did a rubric, he'd have that access to them. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Any final questions before we sign off?
It says that I have to work. It says at least 6 hours. But
10 hours, yeah.
Let's say I put in like 10 hours, but in those 10 hours, like the student's only available for 4 hours that week.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. If you only have, it must be able to work at least 6 hours. Now, if there are students who are unavailable and you only have 4 hours a week, you only have 3 hours a week, that's not a problem. As long as you can be made available, that amount of time. Because there's chance sometimes that we get students at the last minute who are like, hey, I want to take this class at this time, or I want to switch whatever, I have something next week, but now I'm available And if you guys can make that time, great, you know. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask this question because you may have covered it, and it just I didn't catch it. We've talked a lot. We've discussed the units, we've discussed these trial lessons. I'm thinking you talked about lesson plans too, but you know, if I missed it, I apologize. I have to ask you anyway. So, is the for all rubrics, is that only for tracking the progress of the student? Are they going to touch at all on us having to generate these lesson plans and send them to you beforehand? Or there just isn't any requirement for us to create a lesson plan?
Yeah, there is a requirement for you to create a lesson plan.
Yeah, I thought I heard that.
Yeah. So that was, and that's okay because I think you probably heard what I said when I said that a teacher had created kind of like a sample lesson plan or like a format.
Yes.
So before what we were doing is like, hey, what pages are you covering? And you just let us know it's 30 to 50, 30 to 38, and that's it. But trying to be a little more uniform in the lesson, so you will send those like your lesson plan, and then the for all rubrics would be after what what came about that lesson, so the results of that one. Yeah.
But when we say lesson plan, it's not. I mean, it's not like we're creating anything. We're just reporting. Okay, we're going to cover these pages.
Yes. And it's really lesson plan is for you, what lesson you're planning, and how you're planning it, what are you gonna do in that lesson, and yeah, so that's it. It's not I've seen lesson plans where it's like every minute was covered, with every detail possible and the learning outcomes and what they're gonna actually, so I can if you want, I could just go right back to what just an example that was.
But even that sample that you showed us of that other teacher, they created that themselves. There's not like some template that we just fill out, right?
No, we don't have that. Yeah, so that was created. There's not a template. Project Success has a template like that, but Big English, is not. It's just kind of like I said, with the resource manual, it gives like some semblance, like some idea of what a lesson plan can look like, how you can plan your classes. You should probably cover a couple of pages per lesson. So yeah, so this is what she had created, and then this is a sample of how you would, what you could do, or what lessons you could, how you could present the lesson rather. So introduction, teaching the lesson with a couple pages, review the principal concepts, ending the lesson with the game or some song or something like that. So, so the lesson plan or the pages that this teacher created is loosely based on that model that I just showed you in PowerPoint. The idea is to just get them engaged and teach specific parts, whether it be listening, speaking, primarily speaking, listening, writing, whatever, and then reviewing the vocabulary and then singing. It's a lot of repetition and demonstration and all that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm looking at his little lesson plan, and to actually the page numbers.
What's that?
Is that in the manual, like all the units, or is that only on? You got to go into Big English and look at get access to it and review.
Oh yeah, so the manual does have
his information.
Yeah, so the manual does have how she gathered that. She actually went in and looked at the lesson.
It's in the manual. It's all in the manual.
It's in the manual here, but the way she structured it was her own design. So
okay.
So you can use the information here. Remember that in the manual, this is based on like about an hour lesson. So you would condense it anyways. But let's see, let me go back to the timetable and show you what I mean. So if you're going to use the manuals area section. So for instance here, this tells you, this doesn't even tell you page numbers. This just says, use song or vocabulary, the story, corresponding workbook pages. It doesn't even tell you the page. It doesn't tell you because this is based on three levels of Big English. So, so you can use the structure, but if you're going to if you want to go through specific pages, that's going to be up to you.
Okay. Use
those specific pages. So that's why what I was saying earlier with using the Big English, using something like this lesson plan, is that this particular teacher, this is where she didn't start on page 26 with the student. I think she started earlier, but when she was submitting lesson plans, this is what the exercises she was going through. You may not like any of these exercises. Maybe you wanted to use other exercises. Like I don't like, for instance, I don't like the conversation pairing with the teacher. I don't like that one. So I don't use that. So it's up to you. If you think it's a good idea, great. You don't have to though. So, it's you'll find that once you're, especially when you're teaching a particular student, you've had them for maybe a week, a couple days or something, you'll be able to tell like whether or not the student is, best suited for a certain thing, or maybe they don't, so, but maybe you do want to focus on conversation because that's what you want to do. I personally don't like that type of lesson, so I'll use a different exercise that engages in conversation. So, yeah. Does that answer your question about lesson plans? Okay. Yep. So you could be creative. You don't have to stick to something, but I like the format is what I'm saying, so we use format, yeah.
Okay. And you said usually we'll have, it could be more in advance, but usually within 3 days prior to a lesson.
Yeah. I'm really trying to adhere to like a 1 week rule, but when I'm working with the other staff, like they do what they can to get the lesson or get all the lessons together within 3 days. At the least, there's been some times where it's like, hey, can you teach a class tomorrow? But not. We've been doing a lot better and just getting the lessons before the weekend hits. Yeah. All right. Anything else that I can help you with? And I don't know if I covered this, but we did talk about the student progress tracking, but this to also evaluate you guys as the teachers. And that's a more simple rubric that's actually located in 4all rubrics too. And then you guys as teachers get periodically evaluated by us as staff. So the Chinese staff does it. They actually see you more often. And then I look at your lessons when you record the lesson and you send it over. Then I look at them and I periodically review you as well. Especially when we're doing like evaluations toward the 90-day mark, all of that. Then you'll get you definitely get evaluated too. So all positive, critical evaluations. All right. Okay, cool. Well, you guys are welcome to, again, ask any questions that you might have later on, but I feel like this is a really good comprehensive training. So, but if you do have anything else that's sort of looming and maybe it's not been answered or wasn't covered, then just please, by all means, send me an email. Please, I do actually ask you, though, to try to download WeChat and look for me on WeChat, because that is the fastest way to get a hold of me. And that would be the best tool to use especially once you start your lessons. We will create a group chat for you between me, you, me, Jose, and the two or three people on the China team. Same with Stanley, type thing. Okay, so and then any other teacher, we create a group chat. So, and that's how the China team communicates me and with you simultaneously. So I know, even if it's like 3 a.m. for me and I'm dead asleep, I will at least know there was a cancel lesson or a problem with the audio or a problem with somebody's computer. I will know that in advance, so I'm not like checking my email, and it's already 4 hours later or something, So does that make sense? Okay. All right, great. Okay, sounds good. Well, pleasure speaking with you both. And if there's anything else, just let me know. Otherwise, I will end this conversation and then I'll just send this information to you ASAP, okay?
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Anya.
Thank you guys, and I appreciate your time.
All righty.
I look forward to, we'll talk to you guys soon, okay?
Yes.
All right, guys. All right, guys.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.